All right, welcome back. Yes, indeed, we've got Fabio Oladimeji, who himself is a former Deputy Director of Volunteer Management, and Salas Onu, who is a lawyer and also a member, both of them, of the People's Democratic Party. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain. Good morning, Esther.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
The call for resignation of the acting chairman is one of the key issues making the rounds, and that's what we'd like to start off with today on this segment. So with this call, of course, there are several people interpreting it differently. Some think, well, yes, maybe. Others think, no, maybe not. But I guess it's a few days to the party's next meeting. And who knows if it will hold, because from what we hear, the courts may play a big role in this one, so we don't know yet. But Mr. Fabio, let me start with you. What do you think is going on within the party for this call?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's normal in political. And but what really strikes me is that we're not in electioneering time period now, and all these things have started rearing their ugly heads. For me, in any political engagement, you find because it's about interest. Your interest may not really align with mine, and then when it doesn't, you see people coming out and say, no, we're not good with this. So it's expected because it's politics, it's democracy. And when you extend that further, you know that it's all about agitation, it's all about stakeholding, it's all about, noise making and all that. So that's why you see all of these things happening. So PDP had issues, no doubt, and then the entire country knows that PDP is not at its best now. But I think the leadership realizing that, guys, we need to sit down and talk about it and resolve all these issues. And that's why you see NEC coming up after the presidential election. It should have come immediately. But there were few concerns, few things that were being considered. For instance, the Supreme Court cases ended, I think, in January. Of course, we have to wait till that's completed and dusted. We did. Then immediately after that, we have the Easter, the Lenten and all that. Then we have the Muslim Ramadan. So all these things have to, because the party is made up of people who are seriously into all of this. So now, and that's why you see NEC coming up now, after all of this. And I think it's an effort to be able to look at all issues, all concerns, all agitations, and with a view to solving them. It's critical. It's important that PDP do that now. If they don't do it, it's dangerous. So for those calling for national chairman's registration, they must have their reasons for doing that. In fact, it's their right to do so, especially when they see that things are not going the way it should, in their own estimation. So that's it.
But Mr. Ono, for those calling and then they are threatening to leave the party if they don't get their wish, in addition to what you want to say, also add, do you think they can afford to actually leave the party and go somewhere else?
Well, firstly, I'd like to have a conversation in context.
Yeah.
They call for resignation of the acting national chairman. What really are they calling for? The man was elected as deputy national chairman, not. Are they saying he should resign as deputy national chairman, not? Because acting chairmanship is a kind of a caretaker position for him. As we speak, there is still a national chairman who is in court. Your chair, you is still the national chairman. That is the person they should be calling on to resign. Not a man who was elected as deputy national chairman. What really do you want him to resign as acting chairman? Because he's just holding fort that office since the occupant has some challenges and is in court. If tomorrow Ayu is cleared by the court and he returns, the deputy national chairman will not say, no, you can't come back. He will simply hand over papers to him.
The matter is still in court?
It's still in court, yes.
That is
the matter is still in court. So those people are a bit not on point with that call. And I should think that a good party member, if you have issues with your party, rather than just calling a press conference, as a member of the National Assembly, which is a position that makes you a ranking member of the party. And they claim there are 60 of them. I only saw about 6 people at the podium yesterday. The 60 of them would have arranged to see the National Working Committee. The party will welcome them, and then they express their concern, if it's regarding the issue in Rivers or the continuous acting position of the national chairman, and then they would have gotten a clearer picture of what is happening.
What do you think this is about?
I think it's just unnecessary attention seeking. That is what I think. It's unnecessary, and then heating up the politics.
But there must be a reason.
But somebody there may be a puppeteer, but it's not very clear yet.
I was just about to ask you that.
This is about getting attention, because you don't ask a man who is simply acting to resign. He's simply acting. Unless tomorrow there's vacancy in that position and he's vying, you can begin to say, no, we won't support you, we'll support her. That's within your right. And even if there is vacancy and the agreement is that it should go to North Central, there is a zonal caucus in the North Central that will have to sit down and agree. They can change states. They can decide to say, Ayu was from Benue, we're taking it to Plateau, we're taking it to Nasarawa, Niger, Kwara, wherever. They can change. They can also decide to retain it in Benue. And then narrow it down to an individual to say, this is who we want. And then they now present it to the party.
Well,
and it will be ratified. Not to come and say, resign so that we'll bring another person. Who is the we? You know? And then on the threat to the camp, you know, the Constitution only gives you one window to the camp when there is the division at the national level, not the state, or this one you are saying acting chairman. It's not a division. So if you decamp for whatever reason, you're going to lose your seat in the National Assembly. I personally will volunteer to do the case for the party, because I hate people who do what my friend called political jumpology. You're here today, tomorrow you're there, next tomorrow. Most of these people who are threatening the campaign, when they went to the National Assembly, we saw what they did. They didn't even listen to the party to guide them in the election of national officers, I mean principal officers in the National Assembly. They each went and negotiated with who they knew would be the speaker for juicy positions for themselves. So they are, in a way, even not properly whipped in the House.
Very interesting. I mean, that's certainly something that we'll be adding to the lexicon, political jumpology, maybe gymnastics, we don't know. Anyways, I was actually going to start all the way back from your own ambition to be chairman of PDP in Ebonyi State.
Yes.
That didn't go quite well. Is this something you're still nursing?
Well, I am privileged to have chaired the party for 2-3 months and also conducted all the congresses for the party that produced all those that contested the last election, including the governorship candidate. So I have left my mark in Ebonyi as past chairman, even though the court eventually said no, removed me. But I did play my role then. And as you know, I contested for Senate in the by-election that took place on the 3rd of February this year. We're in the tribunal. Our pre-hearing will begin on Monday. So we are loyal party members. You mustn't be everything in the party. You also must respect the leadership of the party, especially at the center. You may have your grievances. There are better ways of expressing it than just calling press conference and attacking the party to make it look like there is crisis. The party is coming out of a serious electoral division. We need to heal before the next election. We need to resolve our differences before the next election. And this is the right time to do it. And I think this NWC has managed to stabilize the ship. I'm sure you must have heard people calling for the head of those ones. Myself, I called for the head of some people in my state who did anti-party. And the NWC said, no, we can't punish this, we can't punish that. We're trying to see how we will bring about peace. I remember...
Do you think there's a solution? Is that a solution you support? Well, the fact that, because some people actually think that discipline is the way to go, and perhaps a lack of discipline is what has gotten your party to where it is?
Yes, the discipline is very important, but how you discipline is also important. You discipline by giving people fair hearing, so you know why they did what they did, so that you can avoid the same thing from repeating itself tomorrow. But what some people are calling for is just deal with him so that we'll be happy. And most of the people who call for this, you find out social media, are not necessarily members of the party. They may be sympathetic to the party, but not members of the party. So, and a leader will take the credit or the blame for whatever happens in a circumstance where he tried to enforce discipline and then the house crumbles. Because you know, this is politics. And you must be political in resolving political crisis. If you want to now take your church idea or your mosque idea of saying an eye for an eye in politics, everybody will go blind. So you must be very careful.
And the blind cannot lead the blind.
The blind cannot lead. So you must be very careful to navigate these very thorny issues of party crisis.
Well,
especially at the national level, because the people you are playing with have the resources to create crisis for you. All of the sides, they have resources.
Interesting. Well, you just said something about puppeteers. It's possible that, you know, they are acting out a script. I do not know whether you also buy this idea, Mr. Fabi, as to whether or not they are also being controlled. Because this came out from the blues. All of a sudden, we just saw this press conference, and this was at the time we thought the party was about to, you know, start getting together, especially when we had the announcement of the NEC. Has a date been picked for that? By the way?
Yes, 18th of April.
18th of April. So it's a few days away, and people just thought, oh, look, there's something to look forward to within the PDP, and then this comes out of the blues from people who are within the party occupying elective positions. So do you think that somebody is orchestrating this from outside? And if the answer is yes, who do you think could be behind it?
Mark, well, let me tell you, there will always be insinuations, you know, for any action that is taken in a political party. Whichever sides of the divide you belong to, whatever action you take, people will always say, okay, somebody somewhere is actually doing all of this. For me, it is those people that did the press conference that could tell tell us whether some people are behind, you know, drumming, you know, making the drum for them. So I don't know about that. But for me, I think they have the right to tell the world, this is how we feel. This is what we believe that is wrong. And then we can't really question them for that. All right? So that
is well within their rights.
It's well within their right to do so. And then it's not left for the leadership to critically look into their agitations and concern and address it appropriately. But I don't support the idea of threatening to leave the party, because I tell you that would be suicidal for them. Because the constitution is clear, especially at the National Assembly, just like you said, on how to make that departure. So, and I think we haven't even got to that. So these are issues that have been raised, and the party should rise to the occasion. Okay? We have about 10 states that have similar problem. The party said, okay, because of time factor, every state working committee that are in place should metamorphose into, what is it called? Caretaker committee. So I really do not understand what is going on in Rivers. Whether there was, okay, new names were added to those ones. If new names are not added, I don't think there's any need for any agitation. But if new names were added, then that calls for, you know, interrogation. And
that's part of the bone of contention.
Okay, so that there are new names. If
this tussle, I think they mentioned Rivers a lot.
You know why Rivers is being mentioned. Everybody knows why Rivers is in there. The big man there. That's why I said this. And let me tell you, it's possible that Wike doesn't know anything about this one. All these things. It's just a decision of the party to do. It's possible. 100%. But because of a lot of things that have been happening around in that place, they can easily say, this man is the one behind it. So let me tell you a lot of things that have been going around now. And I know the party leadership knows about this. there's this belief, or there's this, I don't want to call it a rumor, okay, it's an allegation, that 4 people are all out to destroy PDP. And they mentioned 2 governors, they mentioned the acting national chairman, and they mentioned the minister of FCT. These are things that are going around now. And that is unsettling a lot of people in the party. That why do we need to destroy this party? This party has done enough for many of these people.
But is it the first time that the rumor is out to destroy the party?
No, what I'm saying is, running it around these 4 persons. So still talking about, okay, the way people react and say, there must be somebody behind this.
Yeah, but what I want to know is, for the people who say that, what advantage, what benefit will those people garner from destroying a party that gives them relevance?
I really can't.
Let me even step in a bit to say, what does destroying a party really mean? Is it when you don't have your way that the party is destroyed, or when somebody else is having his way, which is virtually the same thing? What does it mean to destroy a party? Once you're not in charge, the party is being destroyed. The issue in Rivers State that they kept mentioning is quite unfortunate. Before I take any political position, I like to hear both sides. So I reached out yesterday when I had the press briefing to the acting national chairman and to the national organizing secretary. What is happening in Rivers? What really? And immediately the national organizing told me, look, it's the same thing that is happening in your state, Ebonyi, because we've had caretaker for a while. And their tenure has lapsed. But you cannot leave the party in vacuum. So they said, okay, all caretakers and ESCOs whose tenure have elapsed, right, continue as caretaker until NEC, where decisions will be taken for congresses in states. Now, whether the people in Rivers are pro-Wike or pro-Governor Fubara is immaterial to the party, because they were there and a decision was taken. They should continue. If the governor doesn't want them, for God's sake, what will caretaker do to a governor? Why not plan for the Congress? If you have a problem with those in the caretaker, begin to plan for the Congress. And the governor just dramatized everything. Let me tell you something. This is a governor that the party doesn't even know if he's a member of PDP. Fubara.
How do you mean?
He doesn't do anything with PDP. He doesn't attend any PDP activity. When he and the former governor had issues, the party wrote him on 13 December and said, brief us of what was happening in that state so that we can intervene. He ignored the party, rather he arranged to meet with the president, who is a member of APC, to mediate for them. He didn't come to his party. Have you asked yourself, why has PDP Governors Forum not intervened? Why have they stayed aloof? The man doesn't participate in anything.
Yeah, so
it's even dangerous. It's even dangerous for the party to even entrust him with structure, because there are rumors too that he wants to leave, at least for the minister. Who knows? At least for the minister of FCT. People know where he stands. He tells you, I work for the president, right? But I'm still a member of PDP. I will not leave. So you know his stance. You know what he's doing is probably because of grievances. And if you let time pass, most of these grievances will be resolved with time.
I'm just wondering.
But this man, since he started fighting Wike, it's like everybody in PDP is Wike.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at the fact that, it's caretaker. You've asked what will caretaker do to a governor. So if they're caretaker, why can't they just have any caretaker until why must it be those who have been there, whose tenure has elapsed? If that will bring peace, why can't the governor
like I said,
bring his own caretaker? After all, it's caretaker.
It's not the governor who appoints party leadership. It's not his responsibility.
Indeed, but he can present to the party who the choices are.
When the party takes a blanket decision, Rivers was not the focus of that decision. It wasn't as if Rivers State was singled out and they say, for Rivers, you do this. It was a blanket decision for more than 10 states, not just Rivers. Let's do this thing so that nobody will feel we have any special interest. Those who are there continue. When is next? It's just next week.
So they can't wait till next week.
Just next week.
You see, Chamberlain. Okay.
But you all know that. I mean, a lot. How will I put it? A day is a long time in the politics. Isn't that what politicians say?
We're not in an election year.
Yes, we're not in the election year, but let me tell you, there's always this, let me call it palpable fears here in any political arrangement. And that's why you see the things you see playing out now. The governor really has cause for worry. And then if he's not worried, then there's something wrong with him. And I agree with him that it's unfortunate that the governor has not really identified with the party. But something is very clear. I think there is a consensus of opinion in Rivers now, most especially against the former governor. You see quite a number of people coming out to speak. I saw Tele Ikuru, the former deputy governor. I saw the former deputy speaker of the House. I saw quite a number of people, saying one thing or the other, and mostly expressing their discontent with what is going on in Rivers State. So the national office of the party has a duty to make sure that this crisis is well managed. Else we are going to pay dearly for it. Rivers State is critical to PDP, and even indeed critical to Nigeria. Now, for me, I think Governor Wike, who is at the center of all of this, has to do a thorough soul searching and ask himself if he has been fair to the party that gave him everything. And then, if he was able to be honest with himself, I think he's going to really go a long way as accepting so many things. For me, I have my disagreement with him is very simple, and is one. If you say you don't continue to generate heat, both at the national and the state level, if you say, yes, before the election, everybody knew you, we all know that you work against the interests of your party and your candidate, very glaring. And the reasons you espoused then was because, forget about the fact that he wasn't picked as the vice VP candidate, which I strongly supported him at that time. Okay, the presidency must come to the South. And as God would have it, all right, presidency has gone to the South. Why still creating more heat or semblance of heat in the system? I am not happy with that. And I'm not agreeing with him on that, regardless of whatever position he's occupying. So for me, he needs to do a thorough soul search. And for Damagum, let me say this to him. He has to be careful. And this NEC is going to provide him an opportunity to make a bold statement in the interest of the party. The NEC must look at themselves in the face and speak the truth to themselves. If not, the party will go. So it's an opportunity for him so that his remaining political capital will not be destroyed. So that he won't go down in history as the acting chairman under whose party goes down the drain. It's important.
I'm still a little curious.
All eyes are on NEC. All eyes are on them.
You know, how it is that the accusation against an acting national chairman, now boils down to one person who is a former governor in a state like Rivers. And Rivers is not the only state. There are 36 states. I'm still a little curious as to...
It's because of the dramatic personnel from that state.
Let me react a little.
And it didn't just start today.
Let me react a little because of time.
Yes, very quickly.
There's 1 minute.
There is no evidence or any inclination. There's nothing on ground to show that Wike is even aware of this caretaker committee issue. Like I said, it's NWC decision. Because I've asked a lot of questions. I asked them. They don't consult Wike to take their decisions. Albeit the national chairman has to balance all interests. Wike is not his enemy, and no other person is his enemy. He's been working to balance interests. And you can see, the moment he started acting, that heat of Wike and the other group every day quarreling has actually gone down. This drama you're witnessing now is Governor Fubara's insecurity. And it's unfortunate. The national chairman and the NWC hasn't done anything targeting him. Like I said, it was a blanket decision.
Do you think the NEC will be able to calm everything down?
The governor is a member of NEC. Now, knowing full well that NEC is 18th, when you saw something you didn't like, You wait and come and present it in NEC.
Okay.
And canvass your position. Not to try to heat up the polity unnecessarily.
Of course, definitely there'll be a lot of attention and focus on the PDP NEC. But as you politicians do, they have a way of setting all of these things. So if you want to break your head with coconuts for another man's headache, that's your own kettle of fish. Because usually there's huge build-up, and then they go there and everything is all clear. And then you're wondering, what was all this about? That's life, right?
See, in any political party, when there's no crisis, the leadership will create one.
So there you go.
And we'll use those who are fanning this into such matter. Don't worry.
So the big deal is enjoy your holiday. Don't bother too much. If you want to go take Meshai coffee, we'll go for you.
PDP have gone through worse. Worse time and survived it.
So there you go. Salah Zodo is a legal practitioner and member of party. Fabiola Demeji, former deputy director of volunteer management, also of PDP. Thank you both for coming on and enjoy your holidays as well.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you, guys.
I'm waiting for you.
Yeah. I mean,
we're going somewhere.
I heard a mild advert. We're going to ignore it. But you certainly know somebody likes to drink coffee.
Just take it easy while you drink it, though.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you next time. Chamberlain will say goodbye.
Thank you so much for watching this beautiful Tuesday morning. We hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf.